So, Preston, I wanted to ask you a legit question. Now,
All right.
I was torturing myself again by watching episode 3 of season 8, and
Wow. Wow.
I,
Okay.
I just felt like in the mood for being disappointed again.
And of
And
course, when you don't mention the show, we just assume it's Thrones, right?
of course,
Yeah.
um, and I gotta say, like the one thing that kind of like bothers me a little bit is everybody writes off episode 3, and yes, it is bad, and no, I'm not defending it, but there are some really awesome moments in there, like when the Dothraki go in and they charge in, and when Melisandre
Sure.
does
And
the
and
thing.
I really liked the raining bodies. I thought it was like a moment of ridiculousness. That how do you make something even more over the top than the Battle of the Bastards, which was ridiculous, and and bodies raining from the sky is definitely like there. Yeah. So there's some very cool cinematic moments in episode 3. That's without a doubt.
I agree, and I gotta say, the reason I bring this up is because I'm watching it, and it gets to one of my favorite parts, which is
When
towards the
when,
very
when Arya jumps out of nowhere and kills the Night King. Your favorite
no,
part?
no, not that part.
The part where Jon jumps up from behind a wall and yells at the dragon.
No, not that part either.
The long shot at the beginning of them doing nothing.
Not that part either.
Okay,
the,
okay.
the part the part where the Night King is walking slowly towards Bran and that nice piano comes in and
Oh yeah. The silhouette and the piano and the sad music. Yeah.
dude, that's a sick part. And I really hate when people like rip on episode 3 with just saying it's a 0 out of 10 and it's just awful, the worst episode ever, which I still think episode 6 is the worst episode ever of Thrones ever, but whatever. No, episode 3, for all its faults. Oh, and by the way, I want to make this very clear. Towards the end of October, beginning of November, I got a new 43-inch TV, LG, nice 4K, all that stuff.
Right.
Watched that episode on my new TV. Still shit. Still too dark. I just want to make that clear. Still too dark. But no, I love that one part. And I gotta say, do you think, to my ultimate question, do you think that when people read the leaks, they kind of wrote off season 8 completely without even giving it a shot? Because a girl I was dating at the time, she didn't even watch episode 4. She read the leaks to episode 4 and is like, you know what, fuck this, and didn't even watch it.
I think you're overestimating the number of people that watch the leaks.
Or
Most
read the
people
leaks.
or read the leaks. Most people did not. Most people were not aware of them, and most people went in there fresh.
Right, but I'm talking about the ones that did, because I mean, one of your favorite scenes was in episode 5 where Daenerys is just destroying everything, and Grey Worm is, the Allied forces meet the Lannister forces in the courtyard, and the Lannister forces drop their swords, and Grey Worm is there, and he does that thing where he's like, he hesitates for the moment. That's the scene you like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's he has this release, this when she starts killing, when she starts breathing fire, he's relieved. It's the split second of him being relieved that he can let loose all of the anger, because it was going to be bottled up, and the fact that he sees her killing, he's like, oh, great, and it's only a split second. But it's like the most brilliant split second of the whole episode, in my opinion.
Right, and you can't capture because that's all acting chops. That's all on the actor. I forgot his name, but that's all acting chops. But if you read that scene on paper, it's awful. Like if you read a lot of
right, because they're not gonna say shortcut to Grey Worm. He lets out a sigh of relief. No, you're right, that it was the actor's decision, and it was a brilliant decision by the actor. Yeah.
Not to mention the person writing the leaks who have access to this stuff and they're writing it, they're probably biased as well, and they probably dislike the show now, and their bias is going to show in their writing of the leaks. So I just feel as though a lot of people really just wrote off the entire season 8, and it's still bad, don't get me wrong,
right.
But I feel like a lot of people wrote it off and have a more harsher attitude on the season in general because they read the leaks, and when they did, they disliked it and they put up that wall. And even a cool scene like the Grey Worm one, or the one where the Night King's walking towards Bran, never managed to penetrate their opinionated defense.
Well, I do wonder about art being spoiled in general and how people react to it. Like imagine had you gone into Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker with no knowledge, zero knowledge of what was coming. And right at the beginning, they throw you that the Emperor has returned. You'd probably be floored. You're like,
Yeah.
what? You'd be like, what? You know, or I bring this up a lot, like Terminator 2 is actually set up as a movie with a very brilliant reveal that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the hero and not the villain. The problem is, in all of the previews, it's revealed that he is the hero. So I only know of one person that was lucky enough to go into Terminator 2 with no knowledge, who believed that Arnold was going to be the villain again, who had that feeling of surprise. And like, I'm almost jealous of that feeling of surprise. Like, oh, wow. Like that hits you and you were like, wow, this is brilliant, you know? But it was this really cool thing that they built up and then it was wasted, you know? So yeah, I mean, I do think that the leaks ruined it for some people, but at the same time, I don't think that many, unlike with say previews for a movie or Star Wars leaks, I don't think that many people read the leaks for Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly, you know, our psycho community, you know, certainly you and me and people and psycho people like us, but.
Dude, I mean, I don't mind reading the leaks if they're, like, utterly ridiculous. Like, remember that one leak with, like, Tyrion being president of Westeros at the very end? Like, that was hilariously stupid. And we made it very clear that what we're reading here out loud to you guys is hilariously stupid. But I'm just, I don't know. I feel like the loud minority... Like, I feel like a lot of people on, you know, the subreddits and whatnot really look at Season 8 with a more harsher look than it deserves to be. Once again, I'm not defending Season 8. It is trash. I was not a fan of it. It's my least favorite. Actually, Season 6 is my least favorite, followed by Season 8, and then Season 7 is my third least favorite. But
I do wonder about certain pieces of fiction that are controversial and whether or not time lets people forgive or just accept that it's bad. Like I say, like Battlestar, time has not brought anyone around on Battlestar Galactica. It was ruined. Like no one looks back on Battlestar Galactica fondly anymore.
The show or the movie?
The show. Well, there was no, I mean, there were some made-for-TV movies, but yeah, but Battlestar Galactica was the show to watch for a number of years. It was so huge. It was a big phenomenon. And then the final season was so dreadful that it ruined it. And no one ever wants to talk about it ever again. Like no one brings up, it's, you know, we're still talking about Deep Space Nine. We're still talking about Deep Space Nine 25 years later. And we're still talking about Next Generation, you know, 30 years later. And that's a testament to how good those shows were. People still talk about Buffy. People still talk about Angel. People still talk about Firefly. People still watch Friends over and over and over again. People still watch Friends.
I'm one of those people.
Right. While other things, like people are still angry about How I Met Your Mother. You know, like they're never going to forgive the creators for having such a bad last season. So I do wonder what's going to happen. I'm trying to think of something that people have come around on and have later decided was pretty good.
Star Wars prequels, I would argue.
I think Star Wars prequels, people have come back and said they're not as bad as they remember them.
At least they were somewhat original. I mean, they're not a retread of A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
Yes. And Jar Jar Binks has gone into this different realm of, well, he's there and he's ridiculous, but you know, he's almost loved now because he was so ridiculous and bad. So it's an odd thing, like how the hatred for Jar Jar is finally gone, because he's just this ridiculous thing in the fandom or in the continuity. But I'm trying to think of something where people were really angry at first and then eventually came around to it. And I'm not sure I'm there yet in finding maybe Alien 3. A lot of people have come around on Alien 3.
Alien 3 was it's still booty. I watched it a while ago, actually. It's still kind of booty. The reason I bring this up is because someone sent me this link from Free Folk. I'm not mad that season 8 was a train wreck. I'm mad that it's been a year and I still can't watch seasons 1 through 6 of my favorite show because the end was so bad it ruined everything. It just isn't the same. I kind of agree to that. I love season 1, and it's really weird going back to season 1 with the knowledge that they literally have said they had no idea what they were doing. They were novice directors, Dave and Dan, when it came to making a show, but they made season 1 just so perfect, in my opinion. It's like close to perfect, but in my opinion, season 1 is like a 10 out of 10. I love it. And then we get to season 8, and like what happened? I think it's franchise fatigue. We discussed this briefly before. I think it was franchise fatigue, but I don't know. I just don't like how some people look at season 8 with a more harsher lens than it deserves. It still sucks. It's still bad, but it's not like, it's not Cats bad. You ever see that movie Cats, the new one that came out a couple months ago?
Well, I don't want to have nightmares forever. Why would I submit myself to that?
like it's not Cats bad. It's not The Room. Tommy Wiseau's The Room bad.
Well, that's so bad it's good. Then there's so bad it's still bad. Things that are so bad, like there are some things that are
Battlefield Earth.
Yeah. I mean, there's some things that are so bad that they'll never be good. And those are usually things that are very boring. Like the Star Wars Holiday Special is horrible because it's so dreadfully boring. Like, it's not just that it's bad content. Like, it's dreadfully dull. And so it'll never be so bad it's good, Like Highlander 2. Highlander 2 is a ridiculous movie, very fun to watch because it's so bad. And so a lot of people look back on it fondly now because it's so dumb. But I will grant, it's not boring. Like, it's ridiculous, but you're not bored.
You think season 8 will ever get to that, or season 7 at least?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. Because I will say on rewatch, and having watched season 8, 4 or 5 times at this point, like, certain episodes like are boring. Like episode 2 is fine the first time through, but it's this nostalgic romp, like, the nostalgia of everything, and it's like it has no place in a rewatch.
Yeah.
I would never want to. I watched the last episode of The Office, which is incredibly sentimental, overly sentimental. I would never want to see that last episode again. It's just like, ugh. Why would I want to retread that?
I haven't seen the last episode of How I Met Your Mother again since I saw it the first time. There's some shows you just should just let it go. Same with Watchmen. I haven't seen the last episode of Watchmen since I saw it the first time. Some shows it's just you just gotta let it go and that's it. You've seen it once and then boom, you're done.
Yeah. And then some, the ending is so good that you want to watch it again and again. So, yeah. I mean, I watched the last episode when Angel ended. I watched that last episode quite a few times. I still think it's a really brilliant way to end a series. It was controversial, but it was pretty good. Good endings. Good endings are hard to land.
They really are, and I feel like that's even more so now that we get like towards this drowning of television and movies that we get nowadays with like Netflix and Hulu and Apple's coming into their own thing and so on and so forth. And I don't know, it's so I fear for the shows I like now towards their end because I used to love True Blood. Awful ending.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
True Blood seasons 1 and 2 are so good.
I like season 3 as well. Season 3 was also pretty excellent.
And then, God, what an absolute train wreck that became.
Yeah.